Hello and welcome to Penguin TV. It is recorded by George Effelis, aka Whiffy Penguin, and you can follow me on Twitter at Whiffy Penguin. Penguin TV is hosted by PureMTGO.com and sponsored by MTGOTraders.com. Get an 8% discount off all orders over $50 when paying with PayPal or credit card. And you can check out CapeFearGames.com and get an extra 20% off when trading paper for digital. Enjoy the videos. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Penguin TV. This week we are going to be talking about a Cliquearator build. I'm calling it Cliquearator after the Vendilion clicks in the main deck. So what do we have here? We have a blue control deck that seeks to win by just gaining incremental advantages over the opponent throughout the game. This deck tends to play out pretty long, as you will see in the videos, but it's fun to play, and it's a little bit different than most of your decks. I built this deck for the daily event that I played it in, probably about an hour and a half before the event started. And when I was building it, I just really wanted to play Lightning Bolt. I really wanted to play Fire Spout. I wanted to be able to beat creatures while still being quote-unquote classic-style deck with all the broken stuffs. So, I guess we'll take a look at our mana base first. We've got a full 4-color mana base. Trigon, Predator, Fire Spout, and Ancient Grudge all require green mana out of the main deck, with Nature's Claim, Fire Spout, and Grudge in the sideboard. So we have 2 tropical islands. We've got 4 lightning bolts. 4 friggin' lightning bolts. So these are going to help us try to beat creatures. With the Ancient Grudge and the Fire Spout, and then sideboard cards, that leaves us with some red mana. And we're running red a little bit more heavily than any other non-blue color. So we actually also have a basic mountain, and that's the reason we have 4 Scalding Tarns. We really need to be able to keep a red source on the table against the aggro decks, which this was built to beat. All I did was just build the deck with cards that I thought would be fun to play against creatures. So we've got the mountain in there. Ooh, excuse me. 2 Underground Seas will be used with our 3 main deck tutors, and do hard cast Leyline of the Void, which I've done. Hard casting Leyline of the Void is a good time. Then after that, we've got 2 Volcanics. Like I said, red's important. 2 islands, 6 fetchers, and I kind of want to fit more fetch lands in for the interaction of Jason Brainstorm, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. And then we've got a couple of specialty lands. City of Brass shouldn't be too hard to figure out why it's in here. It gives me any color of mana. And there are 4 colors running around. And then I've got a Library of Alexandria, which can just do some pretty good stuff. It's best at its best in the workshop matchup. But it can also do some pretty good things in the control matchups as well. So that's our 18 lands mana base. Following that up, we've got a Soul Ring and a Mana Crypt as actual real accelerants. A Lotus Petal, a singular Lotus Petal. I'm not running Yawgmoth's Will, and I didn't really want to run the Lotus Petal or the Chrome Moxes in the first place. But I have to, because we don't have real Mox in. And I can't throw in a Mox Diamond or a Mox Opal in with this mana configuration. So we've got a Lotus Petal, and we've got 2 Chrome Moxes. And these are primarily just to try and help us get to 4 and 5 mana a little bit faster. Heck, even 3 mana for these flying guys. Chrome Mox also makes wonderful Tinkerbait later in the game. And then Mana Crypt and Soul Ring are just amazing. They help you get turn 2 Planeswalkers which is a good time. Next up, speaking of Planeswalkers, we've got 3 Jace. And I've slotted him in here with the card advantage department. However, in reality, he probably should be over here in the win condition column. So Jace, yeah. If you can get him on the table, he is amazing. Drawing an extra card every turn, drawing the best of 3 extra cards every turn is pretty saucy. We've got the actual factual brainstorm as well, because if 3 is good, 7 is good, and then Sensei's Divining Top, because that just makes 8 good. One of the things I like about Sensei's Divining Top, in a control-on-control matchup, it allows you to find either counter spells or answers, but in conjunction with Jace, you can effectively stop brainstorming with Jace if you have Sensei's Divining Top out. You're going to get the best card per turn. You're not drawing twice a turn anymore, but you're still going to get the best card per turn. You can also use it with Jace's brainstorm ability to dig another card deeper. But if you've got Sensi Top active, then you can start Fate Sealing and bouncing guys. Most of the time, if you don't already have them in a Fate Seal lock, you're going to be Fate Sealing yourself. Sensei's Divining Top the worst card to the top of your deck, and then shuffle it down to the bottom with Jace. So that's the card advantage department. One other little interaction with Sensei's Divining Top, I'm not sure if it came up in the videos, but it has come up in my future testing, has been Voltaic Key. A lot of people don't know about Voltaic Key. If you hold down Control and tap this to draw a card, you can pay 1 mana and untap it with Voltaic Key and then tap it to draw a card again. Effectively letting you just draw a card for 2 mana. Because what will happen is the second draw card will go on the stack first, and you'll draw Sensei's Divining Top. And then the second draw card will resolve, and you'll draw whatever the top card of your deck is. And then you've got Sensi Top in your hand, you can replay it if it's your turn. Then we have our tutors. We've got Imperial, Vampiric, and Demonic, the 3 best black tutors. Yeah, these you will find in almost every single deck with an Underground Sea. It's kind of funny. Sometimes Imperial Seal doesn't get played, but I'm a big fan of Seal, especially with Brainstorms, Jaces, and Sensi Top. And then we've got Tinker. Tinker goes and gets Mer Battlesphere. And I'll get to Mer Battlesphere in a little while when I get down the line to these guys. But Tinker can also go and get Time Vault or Voltaic Key, but these are pretty much its only targets. I've never tinkered for one of these guys. I might tinker for a Sensi Top if I've got a Mer Battlesphere in my hand, though. This is something that I'm not opposed to. And then we've got 2 Tezzeret the Seekers. And obviously, they get Time Vault, they untap Time Vault. Tezzeret wins the game. Tezzeret can also turn your Chrome Moxes and your Sensi Top and your Voltaic Key into 5/5s if Time Vault just refuses to stay on the table. And then you beat them down for 5. Tezzeret is a nice card to just have on the table as a threat. You can't just not deal with Tezzeret because Time Vault was dealt with. Because he will eventually get up to 6 or 7 loyalty, and then attack you for 5 or 10 damage, and then attack you for 5 or 10 damage. So you do have to be careful about Tezzeret. And that's why I like him, because people will expend resources on him, and he's such a small part of the deck. Going forward, I don't know if I like 2. I would probably only want 1. And that's going to bring us to our control suite. We've got the full playset of Force of Will, because, seriously, we need it. And then, so, you see a bunch of 2s. I wasn't quite sure what counterspells I wanted for the format. Mental Misstep is proving, I know that people are going to make fun of me and tell me that, you know, I was just wrong or stubborn, but Mental Misstep is proving to be one of my cards that I like to throw in my decks now. For a while I was against it. I didn't think it did enough, but I'm a fan now. It just hits so many things. It hits Nature's Claim, it hits Swords to Plowshares. Unfortunately, it hits Lightning Bolts. It hits Mental Misstep, it hits all the tutors, it hits Spell Pierces. It's an okay card. However, with that being said, I didn't think that a full 4 or 3 was worth it. I like the 2 of. I've also got 2 Spell Pierce because sometimes they cast a Planeswalker or a Mana Drain or an Oath of Druids, and you need to be able to counterspell those as well. And then lastly, we've got 2 Mana Drains. I like the Mana Drains in this deck. Mana Draining into a Jace or a Tezzeret or, heaven forbids, a Myr Battlesphere is pretty good. Also, just Mana Draining and, like, doing a Sensi Top Voltaic key activation for freezies, that's not too terrible either. So yeah, Mana Drain's good. I would like to try and see if I can fit a 3rd copy in here. And then here's our win cons, which go with Tinker. So Myr Battlesphere. Why is Myr Battlesphere not Blightsteel Colossus? Some of you may be wondering. Or Inkwell Leviathan. So with Inkwell Leviathan, I didn't want... I'm looking at creature decks. When I built this, I was looking at a creature deck metagame. Inkwell Leviathan does alright, but I can't really attack with it if I'm being face down by like 5 guys. Blightsteel Colossus, I can. However, they do run Swords to Plowshares in their decks, and I'm not giving them a whole lot of targets to hit. So if I go all in with Tinker on Blightsteel, they can Swords it. And yes, I can Mental Misstep, but now some of the fish decks are sideboarding in Mental Misstep as well, even like the green-white versions. So I went with Myr Battlesphere. And one of the reasons I went with Myr Battlesphere is because it brings along 4 guys with it. And it has a nice interaction with Tezzeret. I can, you know, work up Tezzeret, cast Myr Battlesphere, and then the next turn everything into a 5/5 and attack for 25. Plus whatever artifacts I may have lying around. So there is that. In future iterations of this deck, Myr Battlesphere makes even more sense. I could see why you wouldn't want Battlesphere. I like him, though. I think I've only lost 1 game where I would have won if it had been a Blightsteel Colossus against Oath of Druids. I went turn 1 Tinker, he went turn 1 Oath. And unfortunately, Myr Battlesphere does not kill you in 1 hit like Darksteel Colossus does. So, over here we've got the namesake of the deck, Cliquearator. Alright, so this guy. Wow, this guy right here. Against the creature decks, he is only so-so. But he is a 3-power blocker. He flies. And he messes with hands. So, obviously, if I've got gas, I'm going to play Vendilion Clique and look at their hand and screw with them. But some things that people sometimes forget is I can Vendilion Clique myself and throw away garbage. I can Vampiric Tutor or Imperial Seal and then Vendilion Clique and put that card into my hand. They are not so bad. And it's blue, so you can throw it away to Force of Will. I laugh, but I do like that reason. So Vendilion Clique, I mean, he blocks Lodestone Golems. He blocks Slash Panthers. He attacks through those cards without getting blocked. And he blocks almost every single creature in green-white hate and trades. And the fact that he has Flash is huge, because sometimes they're going to attack you with like their Gadok Teeg. And if they have Gadok Teeg, they're turning off your Planeswalkers. So if you can flash out a Vendilion Clique and surprise block it, that would be great. Hopefully, though, with the next pile, creatures wouldn't be a problem, and your Vendilion Cliques could just get through. Last up for the creature slots, we have Trigon Predator, because even though I did build this deck for creature decks, Oath of Druids and Workshop decks are still in the metagame. They're still doing some damage. Trigon Predator is amazing versus Workshops. He's not too bad versus a few other heavy blue, like, I want to say Jacerator decks, the ones that have more artifacts that they're relying on. So he's pretty awesome. And then we get to the last slot. We've got the anti-creature slot. Ancient Grudge is anti-Time Vault and anti-Workshop, but here's the anti-creature slot. 4 Lightning Bolts and a Fire Spout. Now see, the great thing about Fire Spout is even though we're running green mana, we can play it for red, blue, blue, or red, blue, black, and not affect our 4 creatures. We will kill Mer Battlesphere tokens, though. Another funny thing is I had a Mer Battlesphere out, or well, I had the tokens out. The Mer Battlesphere had been killed, and I Fire Spouted for green, blue, blue, and kept my tokens, which was nifty, and got rid of his... I'm not even sure what he had. I think it was just a Trigon Predator, but I needed to get through it. So that's the main deck. Looking at it, it looks like it should have pretty good game versus Fish and Workshop. It looks like it should. And then the sideboard we have, just like the same reason I threw a bunch of 2-ofs and stuff in here that I wanted to just test out and have fun with, there's a lot of 1-ofs and stuff in here. So we've got Dredge, because Dredge absolutely destroys this game 1. I don't think there's any possible way I can win Dredge. Maybe if I go turn 1 Tinker into Mer Battlesphere, into turn 2 Lightning Bolt a token to get rid of their Bridge from Blows. And I think that's the only way. So the sideboard we have 6 slots. We can hardcast Leyline, and Nile Spellbomb is a cantrip for us. And it doesn't target them. So that's also nice. Oh, it does target them. I was thinking of Relic of Progenitus doesn't target. Nile Spellbomb definitely does target. So that's Dredge. And then we've got another Fire Spout and a Sower of Temptation against the creature decks. Having Wrath of Gods is pretty good, especially when you're playing with Planeswalkers and such. And then Sower is just a nifty card. He's a 2/2, I can steal a creature. If worse comes to worse, I can steal a creature, chump block with that creature, and then chump block with Sower of Temptation. At best, I can steal a creature, chump block with it, bounce Sower of Temptation with Jace the Mind Sculptor, steal a creature, chump block with it, bounce Sower with Jace, replay ad nauseum or until I run out of loyalty. We've got a Mindbreak Trap against combo-y decks, as well as this Pyroblast Red Blast, which go in for combo and blue control Oath of Druids. Pretty much all the blue decks I would bring in Pyroblast for. But my Mindbreak Trap is just a nice card. It's like a 5th Force of Will. Speaking of Oath of Druids, we've got 2 Nature's Claim. And I feel like I maybe need another slot because, well, this version didn't seem too bad off to Oath of Druids, but the version I'm playing now seems a little rough against Oath of Druids. So we're going to have to look at that and see what we can do to make it better. Ancient Grudge comes in against Shop, as well as Goblin Welder. And Goblin Welder is one of the main reasons I have a Lotus Petal in my deck, so that I can kickstart my own Goblin Welder chains against other decks. So, yeah, that's the deck. I'm going to pause right quick and show you the deck that I've evolved this into a little bit, that I've been working on, mostly because I don't own Vendilion Cliques and I can only play with them for the day. So, hold on just a moment and I'll bring up the new version. Alright, and we're back. So, some small slight tweaks. Where's the first tweak? We have a Thirst for Knowledge. So, we've cut a lightning bolt for a thirst for knowledge. And we will get to why we did that. Our Vendilion Cliques turned into Goblin Welders, and one of our Tezzerets turned into a Mindslaver. So now this is the reason that we have a thirst for knowledge. We need to be able to discard Mindslaver and Mer Battlesphere now because of Goblin Welder. Also now Tinker has a new target. Tinkering into a Mindslaver against blue control or combo can just be absolutely devastating. Tinkering into a Mindslaver against creature decks, not so great. But then we've got these Goblin Welders. And then in the sideboard, I took out the Goblin Welder because he went into the main deck, and I brought in an Ensnaring Bridge, which should give me a little bit of help against Oath of Druids without hindering me too greatly, as well as having splash damage against shop decks. And not that it would stay on the table very long, but it could do something against against the aggro creature decks as well. So that's it for Cliquearator. Oh, and if you're curious, this is Welderator because it's got a welder. And I hope you guys enjoy the coming up videos. Have a good day.